Hello everyone. Welcome back to another video of the month series, where today we are going to look at student personal data and what this looks like from both the student's perspective and an employee perspective. First, let's cover what we mean by student personal data. These are elements and processes true about a person and are relevant to all types of students. This can include names, addresses, phone numbers, date of birth, gender, ethnicity, visas and passports, and government IDs. Now let's jump into our Workday tenant. I will first show what these elements look like from the student's perspective. I am logged in as student Bennett Bender in our fictional alma mater university, and here you can see we are on his landing page that shows his holistic student summary. We will navigate over to the Personal tab, and by default, we are taken to his Names section. What we see is Bennett's legal and preferred name. With the edit buttons next to both, this signifies that Bennett can initiate both types of name changes. In this tenant, any legal name edits initiated by the student require documentation to be uploaded and routes the approval process to the appropriate employees who can approve these changes. But should Bennett choose to edit his preferred name, he can do so, submit it, and the change will immediately take into effect. Sliding over to the Personal Information tab, Bennett can see a comprehensive list of personal elements that uniquely identify him. He can also initiate a change to any of these items by clicking the giant edit button at top. This kicks off the Change Personal Information business process, and you can see each element is its own editable field. Bennett can choose to update one or more or all sections in this business process before clicking Submit. This is just a high-level overview of what this tab looks like, and we will dive into this into a later stage. Let's cancel out this workflow for now. Moving to the Contact tab, Bennett sees his address, phone number, and email address listed. Similar to editing his personal information, Bennett can also choose to edit any of his contact information. This kicks off the Change Home Contact Information business process, and now each type of contact is its own editable field. We will also cancel out of this workflow for now, as we will do a more detailed dive into each type of change at a later time. Going to the Documents tab, the default view Bennett sees is within the Student section that shows all documents uploaded as a result from action items that were assigned to him. In the Person section, this is where Bennett would see any attachments or documents uploaded during business processes involving personal information. Since he hasn't had any changes to that type of information yet, this area is blank. The Reviewed Standards section lists documents that are standard and applicable to all students. In this tenant, some examples include acknowledgement of the school's academic honesty policy, as well as completing a parking application. The Review Generated section lists any documents generated as a result of a business process or workflow the student has completed. Since Bennett hasn't had any business processes like that yet, this section is blank. Notice that Bennett can choose to add a document to his record. This tenant is configured to allow students to kick off this process, but we can customize that to fit ACC's business needs. Moving to the Friends and Family tab, this is an exciting new feature that allows students or administrators to designate family and friends as a third party with access to certain tasks on behalf of the student. Some examples of this include viewing the student's financial aid, viewing the student's grades, generating an unofficial transcript, and viewing the student's current classes. If we want to kick off adding a friend or family member from the student's perspective, let's click the Add button. In this workflow, Bennett can choose the type of relationship to categorize the person he is adding, such as a proxy to act on his behalf or his parent. When filling out the name and contact information, the student will need to be mindful of the required fields in order to submit this. This tenant is configured for at least one phone number, address, or email address to be submitted, or else an error message will appear. This is a high-level overview of Friends and Family, and in the future we will dedicate time to review this tab and privacy release authorization in more detail. Moving over to the ID section, this is where Bennett can see any and all government IDs associated with his record. You can see that Bennett does have his Social Security number on file, but the number is completely blocked out. As part of Workday students' robust security configuration, students won't be able to see their IDs at all and instead have the option to verify it. By clicking the Verify button next to the ID type, Bennett has 5 chances to enter his Social Security number to match against what is on file for accuracy. If he exceeds 5 chances, Bennett will be prompted to reach out to Admissions and Enrollment to update and verify his ID. Lots of information to unpack here, but this section will be yet another place for us to discuss more in detail. The last tab is Housing. At ACC, we do not provide campus housing at this time, so this section is very minimalistic. Should the institution move in that direction, Workday student has an area to dedicate recording this type of information. Now that we've seen what the student can see, let's quickly hop over to the employee perspective of what personal data we can view. I'm back on Bennett's profile page now, but I'm logged in as Brian King, who is the Dean of Enrollment Services at this fictitious university. If we click on Bennett's Personal tab, notice we have a couple more tabs at our disposal. We can leverage the additional data, active person profiles, and other student information tabs to further record any information we wish to track about the student, such as if the student is a first-generation college student. And that will wrap it up for this month's video. Thank you so much for watching, and keep an eye out for future videos. If you have any questions, you can send them via email to sasis@austincc.edu. Thank you.